don't really remember it. I think my brothers could really talk about it. Anyhow, when he died, my mother decided that my doll and those trains had to go.
Okay, go ahead, Mom. We'll let it go to the machine. That's more important to hear you talk. Always call.
And she had, she had some dealer came, I never will forget that, and took all the trains and the tracks and the stations. I mean, he had a very intricate, beautiful room with the trains running under a tunnel, I remember. It was, and everything got gone. She didn't want any of those things.
Yeah, go ahead. That's Sarah. This is more important. We'll call her back.
Anyhow, that was really the strongest memory I have of my dad.
So how many siblings did your dad have? And he was born in Russia, right?
Yeah.
And how many?
Okay, it was my father, and then Uncle Abe, and Uncle Jack, and Uncle Sam, and I think I heard, but I never did really get the details, that he had he had an Uncle Ben, but Uncle Ben, and that's 5 sons. My grandmother had one child before she left Russia that died.
Right.
And then she had 5 sons.
So she had 5. Where were the sons born?
My father and my Uncle Abe were born in that part of Russia, and then the others were born when she came to this country.
Okay. So 2 were born there. Well, the one that died, and 2 others, your dad and Uncle Abe.
Well, the one that died was born in this country.
Okay.
He was the youngest of them. He died, he was like 26 or 28. He had some kind of liver disease, which probably was liver cancer, but, they called it liver disease. And a great story about my father was that my grandmother, who was just an absolute she was an absolute angel, and reminded my mother-in-law, when I got married, reminded me so much of my grandmother, who was another person that loved to cook and loved to give the food away that she cooked, and she was diabetic, so she had to be real careful what she ate, but she cooked stuff that could have given other people diabetes. She just made everything. Anyhow, the funniest story, though, about my father was that my grandmother my grandfather came to America, and there wasn't a lot of communication. There wasn't telephone service and things that we have nowadays, and this was a long time ago, and it was the end of the 1900s, that period of time, and she didn't hear enough from my grandfather, Louis, and so she decided to send the 2 boys to America.
Mm-hmm.
And
your grandmother.
My grandmother. By then, my father was the oldest,
How old was he when they came?
He was somewhere between 7 and 9. I never quite got the whole thing. And Uncle Abe was 3 years younger.
So they went by themselves on a boat?
She knew some people that were coming to America.
Yeah.
And she said, asked them to kind of look after her boys.
Right.
And they came steerage, I guess it was, probably,
right,
to this country. And she had a piece of paper, they always talked about it. She had a piece of paper that she had taken off the envelopes when my grandfather wrote her, and she pinned an envelope on each one of the boys.
Wow. And
told them not to remove the lip of the envelope, because it had Papa's address on it.
Oh my gosh.
And when they got to this country, this other couple that she knew that had come and that she had asked them to look after us, they were coming to America. She couldn't get in touch with my grandfather to come to the boat to get the boys. So this couple, and I really don't know their name, was kind enough to take them to the address that was pinned on their jackets.
Wow.
And
interesting.
They came to this house, and and I don't know how that happened, but the woman let them in.
Yeah.
And it was a boarding house. In other words, in those days, somebody had a house, either a woman or a couple, and maybe they had 4 rooms, and they rented the rooms. They had a bedroom.
Right.
And they rented the other rooms out to the to foreigners who were coming to this country.
Right.
And so the story goes that the 2 boys, my father and my Uncle Abe, decided that they wanted to see Papa as soon as they could.
Yeah.
And they stood outside on the porch, and there he comes home, and he sees his 2 sons standing there. He didn't know they were coming.
Wow.